Okay, so this is the Vevor binding machine, right? Essentially, I have a bunch of papers that I have printed. I want to essentially just make it a book that is easy to read. So just doing some kind of a spiral binding, and this is really great for that, right? Because you want to quickly make a hole, and once you get this, if you're doing it regularly a lot of times, which I am because I'm translating books from another language into English, this is very helpful a lot of times. So this is what it essentially makes the hole, and it also helps you put the spiral clips and make it like a book that you can easily open and fold, right? So you don't have to keep it in a file. You can just make it like a proper book, assuming you have a cover, a front and end cover. So essentially it comes with this. This is just like a first time try to clean up all the oil and everything. This is the manual, and this box essentially contains lot of stuff like this spiral bindings and stuff like that. This is what will be essentially be used to, so you can see this thing essentially just opens up like this, right? So you are going to place this, if once you place this correctly, it will help you put it in the book itself. So if you are doing a lot of book binding, this is really helpful. So let me remove this part out as well and show it to you. Okay, so first thing is, this is the lever that I removed from here. You need to first connect this. So let me first open this lever here, so that we can essentially connect it and use it like a binding machine. Next, you want to remove this black thing here from here like this. Okay, so once you essentially remove this, next you want to essentially just place it like this, because it's a square shape, so it should just go in. Okay, and now once this thing is connected, you just want to, okay, so you do want to make sure that by default this position should be like this, I think, that you can essentially cut it. So don't put it like this. So don't put it like this, because if you put it like this, then you'll have to remove it, and then because it will not go down, right? So by default it's like unpunched position, right? So essentially you want to place it like this here. Okay, and then you want to, the black thing that you removed, the screw, you want to put it back in. And you can see this is the normal position, right? And now when you are bending, you're just going to do like this. Okay, so next what they are suggesting is that to remove all the oil and everything, to place this in here and essentially just use this 8-9 times. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I have done it. You can see all the holes here as expected. Obviously this is slightly bigger than this, which is why you are seeing, but this is just to clean up all the oil and everything. This is not to make sure, like let's say you actually have a proper book, right? I'm going to sell it or give it to somebody else. You don't want oil stains on it of any type. So this will essentially help you clean it up, right? So now I'm going to remove it. So this is just for like almost like a initial cleanup cloth kind of thing. Okay, so the size doesn't matter, but once you have the actual book, then the size will matter. Because imagine if your book was this size, right? Then you might want to move it a little bit. What I mean by that is shift it a little bit, and you can shift it by shifting this. This way you don't end up with this partial hole like this, so you can essentially align it. So if you have like already have an existing, by default obviously they have these default sizes that they have provided here for A4 size, A5 size and so on. But yeah. Okay, now what happened to the actual stuff that got cut out? Well, if you look at the back here, this is where all the stuff is, right? So once the tray is filled, you want to remove the tray from the back and then clean up, because you don't want it to be completely full, right? So that's what I want to do. I'm going to do once again. I'm going to place it. I'm going to do 9 times. Please punch this paper at least 9 times to get rid of oil and achieve optimum utility prior to the use of this machine. So just do it 9 times before you use it for the first time. That's what they are suggesting. Okay, so this is done. So that's what, then I'm going to do the same thing and I'm going to do it for the 9 times. So I've done 2 times, 7 more times. I don't need this anymore. Yep, so I'm going to continue to do it. Okay. Okay, so if you remember I told you about the alignment, I'm going to give you an example, right? Like let's say if you had A4 or A5, right? And if you notice this is almost this size, like this. So you can just rotate it, move it here to align it properly for the size, and then place it like this, right? Use the paper to align it here. And now if you will notice something, notice you don't have like broken hole on the end. So that's what you can use this for aligning the paper. Okay, for the 9th time it was difficult because this whole thing went inside. It did still punched it, but I had to like flip it around to remove it. So yeah, up to 8 times definitely easy, but after that it might be a little bit difficult. But you do need to do it so that you clean up this whole thing. Okay, next I'm going to, so we don't need to do this, we don't need to do the last one. Next I'm going to actually do it on the actual papers that I have. A lot of papers, right? Now they essentially mention the thickness here. How many papers do you want to use? And you don't want too many papers. So I have I would say about 200 papers. So mine is letter size. So you can see this is the length that it fits into. So they have mentioned how to do it and how to organize and arrange it. So you are supposed to put it like this, right? Punching, right? It actually we're making hole, and you can see it has less than 12. So you cannot have more than 12 pages. But binding, you can have up to 450 pages or less. So punching, you do need to do it like 10 pages at a time, 10 to 12 pages at a time. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 10 pages at a time. Okay, so I'm going to first organize it and arrange it. You do want to make sure that you do not change this size so that the holes are all aligned. Now I will have to rotate it on my side because even with 10 pages it's like you need to apply a little bit of force, right? So it's just easier to do. And notice here the holes are done, right? And I already did this pages here. So I wanted to notice something, right? As long as you have aligned it properly, if you notice, all the holes will also be aligned. So that's what you want to do, right? You want to just continue to add all the pages here one by one. 10 pages at a time. So I'm going to do this for the whole book, 10 pages at a time. Okay, now this thing, right? You need to essentially really consider the size of your book as well. Like for example, imagine you have a really thick book, right? And it's possible that this might not be enough and you might need like a bigger teeth. Now in my case, they're all of the same size. So I might have to divide the book into 2, or I might try it with one first and try to put as many as in. Because if it's too many, then it might not rotate properly, right? If there are too many pages. But I'm going to show you how to start doing it. I'm going to start showing you how to start doing it, right? So if you notice this comb bind, one side has solid, and this solid side should essentially be placed here, like this. Now I wanted to show you something, right? Notice these clips here, right? Okay, this is the default position. Now notice these small clips. As I move them, they first go this side. So that they are going to get clipped here and then move. So you don't want to place it like this, right? You don't want to place it like this because then this clip, there will be nothing to pull this. So you want to essentially place it like this. That is, not from the ending point, rather the last part should be on this left side. So hopefully the diagram helps, right? And now, oh sorry, okay, so okay, let me. So the problem is that okay, so the problem was I was essentially putting it like this, but I was, because the comb should have been on the top part, but I was essentially putting it like this, so it does matter, right? So I did tell you correctly about this part, but the combs are on the back side, so that was the problem, right? Now let's try it again. And now if you notice, it has correctly opened up, right? So this is the important part, right? Now you can start putting one page at a time, or you can start putting okay, so in our case the comb is bigger, which is okay, so we can always cut it later on, right? You can cut the comb. So I'm going to leave it like this, and then you can start putting the comb in. So the comb are for like bigger size pages, and essentially you can start putting the pages. So now essentially the way it's supposed to happen is, I just started with one page. You don't have to go with one page, right? You can have multiple pages. Next, now this time I'm taking a lot of pages and I'm making sure that the holes are aligned. They were obviously aligned in terms of punching it, but now when I was organizing it, they might have moved a little bit. So you do want to make sure that is the case here, right? And now, if you notice, if there are too many pages, it might be a little bit difficult. Let me reduce the number of pages because I'm just not used to doing it like this. I'm going to do like 5 pages at a time, right? Now notice how easily it went in, and that is the point, right? You're supposed to continue to do this few pages at a time, right? And imagine you are reading the book, right? This is how you are going to read the book. So make sure that like you are doing it from the back side, right? So I'm essentially painting the back side first. So I'm going to do the reverse. Okay, and you are going to start putting all the pages, right? If you have aligned well, you can also put multiple pages in. But if you are like me and you are not able to align in terms of when placing it, and if you are doing it for the first time, it might be difficult with too many pages. So do consider that, right? And notice you can just press it a little bit. You can also make it a little bit closer. This way you can be guaranteed that there is more space and it doesn't just get pulled out. Notice how I am doing it. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit once. I'm slowly getting hang of it. So the thing, you can see how quickly it went in. So essentially what happened was, the bindings, they are not for like really large books, they are for smaller books, right? So if you want lot more pages, then you want a bigger combs, right? I had a lot of pages, so that was essentially, I'm essentially dividing the book into multiple pieces, right? And now you can see I was able to place it like in a single turn, right? And now I'm going to make it close, and now it is folded. Now you can see how this whole thing just lifts up, right? Now the book is ready. Now I'm going to use a scissor and cut the extra part out. So the extra part is out. And now if you notice, the book is now ready. It can be used to easily read. And I actually have to make a lot of books, and this will be helpful. Obviously, if you want lot more pages, then you obviously want like a bigger comb, that is bigger radius. So I wanted to make really book pages with like more than 100 pages, right? So the one that were provided with them doesn't work. But so I was ordered 50 of these. So what these help is to make really large books. And the process was exactly simple and exactly as easy as I described. So essentially, if you notice, this is the one I have here. All I had to do was put it here like this, right? And then now notice, and then I was able to start putting all the pages, and it was so much easier when you have a lot more pages. So if you have more than 20-30 pages, I recommend getting something like this here, and then you'll essentially have a book like this. Like you can see, really thick book. So the thicker the book you want, the bigger the diameter / radius, you can say, or circumference of the thing that you want. Now technically this can essentially go with 200 pages, this is just 150, so I can put more pages, but obviously my book size, I cannot change that. So yeah, and you can see how it comes, and you can use the same technique to also remove stuff out of the binding. So the other book which I had made into small pieces, I was later on able to remove using this same tool here, remove all the pages and then put them back in this bigger book here, and it was just so much easier. So if you are having trouble, that means maybe you have a lot more pages than the size of what this supports, so get a bigger one. But this thing will essentially work with almost everything. Yeah, and that's it. And now, I have everything. Okay, thank you.